Do you ever feel like you're watching your own life unfold from the sidelines? Let me set the scene. You're scrolling through your Pinterest feed late at night, saving quotes about self improvement, pinning aesthetic morning routines, and bookmarking wellness tips. You got dozens of self help books on your shelf, a journal full of goals, and a genuine desire to become your best self. But something feels off. Despite the inspiration, you can't shake the feeling that somehow you're just watching your life happen instead of actively shaping it. Maybe you felt that subtle frustration when someone talks down at you, or that nagging sensation that you're waiting for permission to pursue something you really, really want. Here's the truth. Most of us know exactly what we should be doing to live our best lives, yet somehow we're stuck hitting snooze on all of our dreams. If you're nodding along, you're in the right place. Today, we're having an honest discussion about what it truly means to take an active role in your life. And trust me, it's not just about the morning meditations and the green smoothies. Whether you're navigating your 20s or 30s or just need some motivation, this episode is your wake-up call to stop being a spectator in your own life. Before I get started, I should probably reintroduce myself. Hi, my name is Leja, but you can call me Lay. Welcome back to A Little Atypical, where we dive in all things wellness, personal development, and lifestyle topics. This is our 50th episode, and even though I've been gone for a bit to focus on the blog site part of things, aka the place where you can find more content and other resources to keep crafting your ideal lifestyle and other interesting topics, which you can find in the description box below, alongside with other aspects of my life too. So I'm really happy to be back for this month to focus on the theme of the month, which is personal empowerment. It just feels really fitting to explore this theme in May, a month that represents transition and renewal for so many people, whether it's graduation season or just the start of summer or simply the spark of motivation that comes with the warmer weather. May often inspires thoughts of personal transformation. And while social media is flooded with glow up content this time of year, which I also enjoy, don't get me wrong, I believe true transformation comes from deeper than surface level changes. The most powerful glow up happens when you feel genuinely empowered by your life choices and actions. So when thinking about the best way to return after taking April off to focus on the other projects I mentioned, my mind went back to a recent conversation I had. Someone shared with me their frustration about constantly being talked down to and treated like a child by others, an experience that kind of opened up a deeper discussion about the disadvantages of being perceived as passive. Let me share a personal insight about perception and action. As someone who's naturally soft-spoken, I've learned that sometimes people's reaction to us has more to do with their perceptions than our actual capabilities. It's fascinating how your vocal tone and certain phrases can shape others' impression of our decisiveness. So, like I was saying, recently I had a conversation with someone facing similar challenges. So, despite being highly capable, her habit of saying things like, I'm fine with anything, or that we should be satisfied with what we have, mostly out of upbringing to be polite or considerate of the other person, combined with the gentle speaking of her voice, led other people to perceive her as indecisive or passive. In an environment where people didn't know her well, these small communication patterns were undermining her authority. Being passive or even just appearing passive can have serious consequences in your life. So some examples are you're overlooked for meaningful relationships and opportunities because you're not seen as someone who actively participates in their life. People assume you don't have your own dreams and desires, leading them to make decisions about your life without your input. Your personal boundaries are often crossed because you're perceived as someone who will go along with whatever others want. Your opinions and feelings are often dismissed in relationships because other people don't view you as someone who stands up for themselves. The last thing I want to add is building meaningful connections become more challenging as people tend to gravitate towards those who show enthusiasm and engagement in life. When you adopt a commanding presence and commit fully to your choices, it kind of creates a ripple effect that transforms how others perceive and interact with you. But this shift is not just about appearing confidence. Overall, it fundamentally changes the opportunities that come your way, the relationships you build, and how effectively you can advocate for yourself. Taking ownership of your decisions and showing up as someone who knows their worth naturally leads to better boundaries, more authentic connections, and a stronger sense of personal agency. And the best example I can think about this is through analyzing a character. Let me share a personal revelation after rewatching Gilmore Girls that demonstrates the power of taking an active role in shaping your own path. I first watched the show in high school. Like many viewers, I was captivated by the little elements such as the mother-daughter dynamic, college preparation, and the romantic storylines. But revisiting it years later with more life experience, I found myself drawn to a different aspect of the show, aka the contrast between passive and active approaches to life, which was heavily embodied by the character Paris Geller. Now, Paris was not always the most likable character, offers us kind of like a masterclass in taking an active role in our lives. Like, yes, she can be intense and sometimes very abrasive, but beneath that exterior lies something worth examining. A young woman who refuses to let life happen to her. Instead, she actively shapes her path even when it means facing things that are uncomfortable or making difficult choices. So, a quick heads up, this section contains spoilers for Gilmore Girls. If you haven't watched it yet, I know it's an old show, but if you plan to, you might want to skip ahead to our actions section where it's just talking in general. But for everyone else, let's dive into what we can learn from one of the show's most dynamic characters. Obviously, I can't talk about Paris without talking about Rory because Paris is Rory's foil. You know, when examining both characters, it's important to understand their shared characteristics and key differences to appreciate why their approaches to life yield such different results. To start off, both Rory and Paris were academically gifted, ambitious, and privileged in their own ways. They shared similar goals like attending Harvard and maintained a small social circle and kind of demonstrated a strong work ethic in their studies. And their similarities extended to both experiencing forms of parental absence and financial challenges, but at different points of their life. However, their backgrounds and support systems differed significantly. While Rory had so much support from her mother, grandparents on her mother's side, and basically the entire Stars Hollow community, Paris primarily relied on her nanny. Rory grew into privilege as a teenager while Paris was born into it. The most striking difference wasn't in their capabilities, but in their approach to life planning and decision making. Despite very similar academic achievements, Paris consistently demonstrated a more proactive approach to her future, even while facing challenges like her divorce in the revival. Paris maintained a clear sense of direction and purpose, even though I know technically she did have a breakdown at that point. But this wasn't about success versus failure, but about different approaches to life's uncertainties. Even in the original, there was a conversation that came from Rory's friends when they visited Stars Hollow, Lucy and Olivia, they openly discussed the reality of post-graduation uncertainty. This conversation highlighted a universal truth. Even with plans lined up, many graduates question whether their chosen path feels right. The difference was how they handled this uncertainty. Both characters had their strengths and struggles, but their contrasting approaches to life planning and decision making offered a lot of insight into the importance of taking an active role in shaping one's future, even with feelings of uncertainty. What makes Paris interesting as an example isn't her perfection, quote unquote. We as viewers know she is far from perfect, but her unwavering commitment to actively participating in her own life, while other characters often wait for opportunities or rely so heavily on validation, I think Paris creates her own opportunities and validates herself, which may be a hot take, but it really depends on how you look at it. So let me give this a clear breakdown of how Paris exemplified taking an active role in her life. So the first thing is clear vision and self-investment. Beyond maintaining clear goals, Paris actively invested in herself by getting a life coach. Some might suggest therapy would have been better for her. I think this choice aligned perfectly with her goal-oriented personality. She wanted actionable strategies for achievement rather than emotional processing, you know? Next thing is proactive personal growth. She actively sought ways to manage stress through new experiences like crafting and yoga, showing that taking an active role means stepping outside of your comfort zone for self-improvement. Next, strategic academic planning. Her decision to double major in biochemistry and political science wasn't random. It reflected her forward-thinking approach. This eventually led to her career choice with fertility that just made sense for someone who experienced parental neglect and understood the significance of a child actually being wanted. The next thing I want to highlight is detailed action planning. Paris created Operation Finish Line, an elaborate system with so many whiteboards and schedules that included things like intensive study schedules and graduate school preparations, career development activities like mock interviews and networking, a systematic approach to recommendations, transcripts, and test prep, so gathering all the material, and detailed timelines for scholarships and grants and fellowships and everything like that. And the last thing I would like to say is she, even though I kind of highlighted this, but she just embraced new experiences overall, you know? Like, she tried various activities like belly dancing, speed dating. She took on a lot of leadership roles like the Yale Daily News. And a lot of people are like, they never understood why she did that. But I honestly think she enjoys writing, and it does still look good, especially when you're planning to go to grad school. So even if it technically didn't have anything to really do with her career, I also think she just enjoys it and enjoys doing things that are more proactive and overall engaging in those type of activities. Another key difference between Paris and Rory lies in the time they experienced their major failures and setbacks. Paris faced a significant setback earlier in her academic journey at Chilton, which actually helped her develop resilience and adaptability before college. I felt like she learned to navigate challenges when the stakes were relatively lower, which allowed her to build confidence to overcome those obstacles. You know? Rory, on the other hand, experienced her most devastating failures later in her journey during her time at Yale. Having succeeded throughout her early academic career, these later setbacks hit so much harder, from Mitchum Hutzberger's criticism of her and the struggle to keep up with her peers were especially impactful because they challenged her self-image at such a crucial time. Unlike her adjustment period at Chilton, where she was clearly starting at a disadvantage, these college failures occurred when she was supposed to be on equal footing with her peers, making it more difficult to process and overcome. The timing shaped how each character developed their approach to challenges, highlighting how early exposures to setbacks can actually help build stronger coping mechanisms for future obstacles. So, like I said, I'm just going to list some of the practical steps for taking action and taking an active role in your life. So, based on the analysis I just listed, here are some practical ways to implement this. Number 1, develop a clear vision with support, like finding free mentors through professional networks, joining peer support groups, or using online learning resources that match your learning style. Those things can contribute to you actively shaping the direction of your life, but clearly you don't have to do it alone. Next, create a detailed action plan. Establish systematic approaches to your goals, include specific timelines and milestones similar to Operation Finish Line. 3, pursue personal growth actively. Step outside your comfort zone by trying new experiences and activities that contribute to self-improvement. Next, strategic decisions. Make choices that align with your long-term vision, like Paris's strategic choice of double majoring to support her future career goals. Next, embrace leadership opportunities. Actively seek and take on leadership roles in your areas of interest. Last, build resilience through early experiences. Don't shy away from difficulties. Use early setbacks as opportunities to develop stronger coping mechanisms and to learn what to do for next time. The reality of post-graduation is that it's a time full of uncertainty. Even when you think you want something, you won't truly know if it's right for you until you experience it firsthand. The point of being active in your life isn't about having perfect clarity. It's about making moves despite the uncertainty. Some people need more time to figure things out, and that's okay. Shame doesn't push you forward, and sometimes you need to pause and reflect. There are no wasted moves if you learn from your mistakes. And with that being said, that is all for the episode. And now it's time for the card pull. Since this is airing the same day as the Scorpio Full Moon, I figured for this month I would be using the Moonology deck. For the card pull, we got Waxing Moon. The energy is gaining momentum. During the Waxing Moon cycle, hope springs eternal. This card is a very positive omen, indicating that you can create the reality you're dreaming of, though it will take some work and you're not quite there yet. This is a time of energies rising up. Emotions are building too. Where do you want to go, and do you believe you can get there? Either you can just keep meditating and focusing on your desired outcome, or you can make the courageous commitments to take practical steps towards your goals. Whichever you decide, you are most certainly on the right track. Attuned to the moon. I know I'm headed in the right direction. Additional meanings for this card. The situation is full of potential. Your dream can come true. More effort is yet required. Are you willing to give it? Review your goals and ensure you're still committed. Keep moving forward. The teaching. The waxing cycle is the period of the lunar cycle from the new moon to the full moon. And during this time, the moon appears to be slightly bigger and rounder every night. This is a very empowered and empowering time, and this is a very promising card. It suggests now is the time to make plans and act on them, no matter when you actually pull the card. So, obviously, the waxing moon card perfectly aligns with the theme of taking an active role in your life, as it emphasizes the importance of intentional action and forward momentum. Just as the moon grows larger during this phase, our personal growth and achievements require consistent and deliberate steps rather than just passive waiting. The card's additional message about requiring more effort and making courageous commitments directly mirrors our discussion about the importance of being proactive rather than reactive in shaping our lives. The timing of this card pull during the full moon amplifies this message about transformation through active participation, suggesting now is the perfect time to fully step into the driver's seat on your life's journey. Now, for what I'm grateful for. I am grateful that I am wrapping up creating bonus content. I started this process May 13th of last year, and it took a while because I was still producing episodes, so the only way possible was to take a break, and I just feel happy things are now completely aligned because it makes it so much easier to stay organized in my content creation process once everything is all settled. So that's it, my friends. You're a real one for making it to the end. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of A Little Atypical. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who might need to hear this message. Remember to view the description box where you can find important links such as the one to my website where there will be more bonus content. So until next time, have a good day, evening, or night, and stay authentically atypical. Okay, bye!